you guys. Let's see what I'm up to. All right, this is our third webinar. Part of the reason, one of the reasons we do these is to check in with you as participants, see how things are going. And we kind of have a new reason. I'm not sure if anybody's been paying attention, but there's been this virus thing that's kind of going around. So how to deal with that. We've got some ideas on how to deal with that. And hopefully those of you that have been a little stressed about it, we'll put you at ease. But really the main focus of this today is to understand that, oh, excuse me, Ariel, would you like to introduce yourself real quick? Let me turn your face on.
So,
there you go.
I think I had the pleasure of meeting most of you in Las Vegas, but just in case, I'm Ariel Rivers. I'm the Pacific Region representative, and I'm based in Livermore, California. So I essentially have the same job as Keith and Sunny. And I know Tesca wasn't able to join, but Kit's here. I'm an alum of Davis, and I can't remember, we have a few who are Penn State in the group as well, and I did my PhD at Penn State too. So it's always good to link up with familiar faces, familiar names. And I joined today, I crashed your party just to hear what all of you are up to and provide any additional support. As Keith mentioned, obviously we have this huge virus issue that we're all dealing with, and as a former professor, I'm always full of ideas. So if anyone needs any help or support in any way, I'm happy to help as you continue to develop your outreach plans.
Yeah. All right. So let me go back to our screen share. Okay. Boy, that's kind of slow. So what we're going to talk about today, again, review from the last webinar. We'll talk a little bit about outreach efforts. What are we doing now? Some effective online virtual communication strategies. Some of you are not in your campus communities right now, and that's giving a few folks some worries. We're going to set those worries to rest because it is no problem. So just real quick, like I said, some of you were on the last webinar. I just want to go through these really quick. The first big thing is the deadline for your outreach efforts has been moved from the 1st of September to the 1st of October. So that's an extra month. That also means you have an extra month for the deadline for your final report, which is November 1st. I'm never one to recommend waiting till the last minute. That's kind of one of my things personally that I don't like to do. I don't like to put that stress on myself, but we wanted to make sure we gave everyone some extra time. We are definitely redefining success. We're looking, we want you to be innovative, creative. We still want it to be a quality project. And we still want what we're calling durability in the marketplace, which is if you're going to make a YouTube video or a podcast or a Facebook live stream over a couple of days, interviewing a couple of people, it's something that we're really wanting to link to through our NACD electronic media and hang on to for the future. So that's something that, you know, when you're my age, which is pretty old, you might be able to look back on some of those things and see that other students have made use of your outreach product and got something really great out of that. Since we're not doing what we thought we were, what tools do you have? What can you use to get your project done? Of course, you'll have the internet, and believe it or not, telephone still works. You can either do voice-only interviews or you can do FaceTime interviews. And the important thing to remember is all of those professionals are still out there right now getting their job done. They may not be in the office very often. They may be doing work from home, but that work is still going on. The world still continues. Make some phone calls, send some emails, ask some questions. Say, look, I understand we're still having to social distance, but I want to interview you. Can we do a FaceTime interview and I record it and I can use it? What tools do you need to get done what you want to get done? And how can you use what you have or get what you need? So if you can't answer those questions, that's what we're here for, is to help you find those resources. Again, a way to communicate with a broad spectrum of audiences. it's pretty much a given that we are not going to hold you to the idea that you have to communicate with fellow students on your campuses and at your universities. That's that's not important anymore. What is important is that you do have a targeted message. You have good content. Think about your pre-production and your post-promotion. If you're going to do, say, a 3-night series of a Facebook Live interview with 3 different professionals, maybe a federal professional, a state professional, and a local professional, and you're going to talk to them for 3.5 minutes about job opportunities with their agency, what a student needs to think about if they want to get a job with that agency. How are you going to promote that? Is there a Penn State University natural resource management webpage or something like that? You can promote that. And since these are going to be what we call durable items, and you're going to record it, how do you promote it after the fact? Say, hey, if you missed my live interview with this natural resource management professional yesterday evening, hey, it's recorded and this is where you can go find it. That way you can only record how many people tune in to watch it live, but you can also look at over time how many people go and click on that and take a look at it. Use your outreach plan or your outline. Man, it's almost to the point now where you just kind of pitch those out the window and start over again. We'll talk about that here in just a minute. But there are several online platforms that are free, like YouTube, Facebook, Instagram. Make use of those social media platforms to get your message out there. I'll go through these again real quick. Some of you have already seen them. Keep it short, 3.5 to 5 minutes with a moderate pace. Be concise with your theme. Don't chase any rabbits. Pick a topic, stick to the topic, cover the topic, and then move on. If you think you have lots of content, again, if you're going to do 3 interviews with 3 different types of professionals, break it up over several days. Viewers like interviews, but if you are going to interview somebody, send them the questions ahead of time so that they know what to expect. This isn't about surprising somebody with a trick question. This is about getting the information that they have to your audience. Let's see. Okay, so here's some new stuff. If you're not on your campus, we understand that. You may have a difficulty connecting to a campus audience. Again, we understand that. I guarantee you that in your community, there is a group of student-age young people, be they junior high, high school, whatever, that would love to hear a message from you and whoever you interview or you collect your information from about entering the natural resource management or the agriculture conservation field. That can be your audience. Your former high school might have a Facebook page or a YouTube channel or something like that. There are students that would love to hear a message from you as someone who is going into this career field about what it's like trying to get into the career field, and then possibly talk to some professionals about some preparation for it. I know that when I was looking in junior high and getting into the sciences, all I ever heard about was, well, you got to be good at math. You got to take math. I stink at math. I'm terrible at math. But I've still had a career in natural resource management, even though I use a calculator to count my toes. So students need to hear that. You will still be able to find that receptive audience. You might try to reach out to your same audience you had planned, but use a different communication strategy or a different method. Facebook might not work anymore, or email might not work anymore. Obviously, an in-person panel type in a conference room meeting is not going to work anymore. Or you may have to change up the audience, but you can use the same communication strategy or method. Still go with a social media platform, YouTube platform, but maybe you have a different audience. Maybe you are wanting to talk to junior high or high school students. Or you can just change the whole thing up. It's a completely different audience, completely different strategy, completely different method. We're here about helping you make it work and being successful. The one thing I would encourage you to do is to stay on message. This is an opportunity for some particular audience that you pick to hear a message about getting into natural resource management, the sciences, conservation, agricultural conservation, that kind of thing. We're going to hear from a couple of you here in a minute, and I don't mean to call you out, Hunter, but I think your idea is excellent, and we really want to hear how you're going about doing this, having changed up your methodology. But you really got to have a plan. Since you got to have a plan, if you need to, go back to those outreach plan worksheets and work through those as a tool. If you're the kind of person that likes to see that progression, likes to build that outline, feel free to go back to those empty pages and start that over again. You might have some resources now that you didn't have before. You might have personal connections with professionals there at home that you really might have not have had access to when you were, pardon me, when you were on campus. Think about that kind of thing. Your local conservation district, if you have ties to them, if you have ties to other professionals in your home area that you said, well, if I've got to talk to the folks here on campus, I really can't use them. Well, now you can. Think about, do you want a broad reach with a general message or a targeted reach with a specific message? I would encourage you to be as targeted with your audience and as specific with your message as you can, because that has more appeal to who you are wanting to reach. I mean, if you're just basically talking to anybody that needs a job and saying, golly, you know, working outside's fun, that's not near as impactful a message as it is specifically targeting individuals that are interested in agriculture, conservation, natural resource management, that kind of thing. And you need to remember, you can do this. We're here to help you. A gold star if you can catch this particular movie reference. Most of you may be too young to have seen this one, although Hunter, having been from Louisiana, I think, isn't this required watching as a resident of the state of Louisiana? Yes?
Yes, 100%.
Okay, this is from the movie Waterboy. If you haven't seen the movie, it's kind of hard to understand it. But yes, you can do this. We have faith in you. We're here to help you with it, whatever we can do. But it's important to know that we still have to get these outreach products through and help you get your projects done. And we're basically to the point now to where we'd kind of like to hear what you guys have going on. I'm going to stop sharing my screen for now. And what we'd like for each of you to do, again, I understand if you haven't got anything done yet. That's cool. But if you got some ideas or if you have some questions, have everybody take about 2 minutes, 120 seconds. I'm not going to time you. Basically, just, you know, tell us what you got, tell us what you don't got. And then we'll kind of go through everybody round robin style. And then we can go to answer some more specific questions if you like. On my screen, Miss Hope is first. So would you like to go first?
For sure. At the conference, I had an idea similar to like roundtable discussions, and it would be like speed dating with a conservation professional. Obviously, probably won't happen. I don't even know if UF is going to have on-campus classes in the fall. So today I actually majorly shifted and started creating a website. And I was going to highlight the different careers and then also have resources and opportunities like the AFA conference and then this, obviously. And then you were saying have a targeted audience. And I just thought about women in conservation. I know that's kind of a push, and maybe that'd be something that I could pursue.
That's actually fantastic. Fantastic. Did you see the email from Candice Avenatti, who is our Southeast?
Yes.
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 Okay.
Yeah.
That is actually one of her personal career focus things, is women in conservation and in the sciences. I'd encourage you to get with her. I'll be honest with you, she would be a fantastic one for you to interview. She's like most all of us, certainly like Sunny and Ariel. She's had a very interesting career. She's a great person to talk to. And I think she could also kind of help you with some contacts, maybe if you're wanting to do some additional interviews.
Perfect. Thank you.
Fantastic. Great. Great. Anything else? Okay. All right, Mr. Hunter, you're next on my little screen thing here.
So I think we talked about this a little bit last time, but I'm going to shift and make a video series where I highlight different professors at UF, and now I've also confirmed with a professor at UGA to kind of highlight their labs and what they're doing in those labs and different skills and experiences that students are gaining in those labs. And then I've got a list. Candice actually really helped out. She put me in contact with a few people in Georgia, Florida, and in Mississippi to also interview and talk to them about positions that they have available and the experiences, or maybe just the skills that they're looking for when they're hiring out of a university, and pairing the two, like pair a lab with a professional per video, and then just have the videos go on maybe through NACD or UF or UGA's Facebook pages.
Absolutely. That's one thing that, NACD, we have a Facebook page, we have a Twitter account, we have a YouTube channel. We would be able to promote any of the materials that you all put together as outreach materials on any of our, on our outlets. We'd be very proud to do that. Fantastic. Having worked in a lab, I think you'll find one of the major qualities of an individual that will be willing to work in a lab is able to do mindless, repetitive tasks over and over and over again without going insane. You back me up on that, Ariel? Yeah.
I will echo that. And I remember multiple times in my various lab careers where I have wondered why no one ever told you how much labeling was involved in science. So I think that's an important note to remember, that unfortunately there's a lot of drudgery, but at the end of the tunnel, there's a beautiful light. So we can be put down sometimes, but got to keep it up.
Yeah, I worked in a lab once where we were culturing algae. So we had petri dishes with potato agar in them, and my job was to take a loop, which is like a little wire thing, little tiny loop on the end, stick it in the flame, so you sterilize it, put it in the culture, and then just swipe it back and forth on the petri dish. And I did literally tens of thousands of those things. So I don't know if anything ever grew in them. That wasn't my job to check. So, all right, outstanding. Thank you, sir. Brian, you are next.
So my original outreach plan was to do, it was along the lines of doing a women's archery night in Colorado. But since I'm back in Hawaii and no longer there, I was just going to shift my target audience to not necessarily more like still the outdoor community, but shifting it to the specific culture and livelihood based upon fishing here in Hawaii. And being a local youth from here, like a lot of us from a very young age, we grew up hunting, fishing, diving. With hunting and fishing, with fishing and diving near our shores being one of them. But like, although there's like a lot of people who fish here for their livelihood, a lot of times the youth aren't really exposed to job opportunities in terms of natural resource management and like the different sciences related to fisheries and related to our natural resources. So I kind of wanted to shift more towards that. And during my time back at home, I've been networking a lot with people with the regional director from NOAA Fisheries over here in Hawaii, so for the Pacific region, and then a few of the, I would say, administration here with the National Park Service on my island. So just really utilizing the connections I have within those federal agencies to potentially do interview videos. I've experimented with podcasts. I'm a fan more of videos though. I really like to show that interaction and you just use faces and where we are in that. But yeah, I was just gonna target again more like my audience would still be in the younger range, but really hitting on opportunities in careers that we have here, because like a lot growing up, I didn't know about NOAA Fisheries, and I didn't know about the National Park Service, let alone was I ever put in touch with opportunities that they had for the youth here. So yeah, that's what I'm gearing more towards.
That sounds outstanding. You bet. And again, Ariel, as your Pacific region representative, I know I introduced you to May and all the folks from the Hawaii Association of Conservation Districts. I know if they could help you, all you got to do is give them a holler. They do have, HACD does have representatives on each island.
Okay.
So you'd be able, I mean, if May can't make it over to where you are, because I forget which of the islands they're all spread out across, but I know HACD has a representative on each island that you could work with if you needed to. So, and I know Ariel can get you in charge, or just do like I did and Google up the HACD and it lists all their phone numbers and everything. So,
Okay.
all right, fantastic. Next on my list is Alexandra.
Hi.
Go right ahead, man.
Yeah, so my original project was mostly based on like in-person interactions with students here at Purdue, with depending on like the different clubs I'm in. So that's definitely obviously not an option. But so recently after graduation, I was supposed to do an internship with Mosaics in Science, which is like a minority-based internship program that helps minority students that are either recently graduated or during their college career get an internship within a national parks within a national park and just like work a project under a supervisor, and you have to go to a conference at the end of the summer and like present your research project. So it's a really good experience for students just to have that opportunity, especially in minorities, since in national parks we're a pretty low representation. And so I've been working closely with them, and I think it'd be a really good idea to maybe interview my coordinator, just because she's been really helpful with like getting me connected. And the supervisor for the park I was going to work at, it got canceled because of COVID, but I was going to be in Biscayne National Park in Miami, and my supervisor was very excited, and she's pretty enthusiastic about helping me out. So I think I can ask her to help me. I haven't really gotten it all down. I just moved back. Well, I've been in Puerto Rico for 2.5 months, and I just got back to Indiana to move out of my apartment after finals. So it's been a little hectic lately. So once I get back to Puerto Rico, I'll start working on that a lot more detail oriented.
That sounds great. And I know Candice, who is our Southeast regional representative that also has Puerto Rico and the other islands, reached out to you. She's got some contacts for you for when you get back to Puerto Rico. Of course, Joel, who is the state association president. I think we've tried to get you hooked up with him some.
Yes, I did
and then,
communicate with him.
Yeah, and then Lorimar at the Distrio Carib, they just did, I don't know if you guys have a chance to go to our website and our conservation education materials. They just finished a Spanish language translation of our Guide to a Pollinator Field Day, and they did a wonderful job on that. So if those folks, we can get you connected with those folks as well. I know Lorimar would be more than happy to help you out. So I'm sorry you've been having to bounce back and forth between there and here and everywhere else, but we're very glad to have you here today.
Of course, thank you.
All right. Abigail, I see that you're next. I almost called on Sunny. It's like, wait, no, Sunny doesn't have to do a project, but Abigail, you're next.
So my project, for those of you that were at the last webinar, I kind of changed it. I thought I might do an ARC story map, looking at highlighting Montana's conservation districts and the work that they've been doing, and kind of targeting towards college students and how they might be able to get involved through volunteering or developing skills that can build up their resume, or looking at future career opportunities in the conservation field in Montana. So I have been emailing people. I have not gotten responses, so that's been a little frustrating. So I have not made any progress other than that, but I'm trying to come up with a plan B if that isn't working out. Yeah, so that's where I'm at right now. And yeah.
That's great. And I guarantee you, at least on my screen, there's a person sitting right next to you there in Montana that I guarantee you would send back an email.
Yes.
If you gave her a holler and
She's
needed
been
something.
helping me out a little bit with who to contact and stuff. So
Yeah,
At least
and I'm happy to help you out with this. I mean, I've got these people on I can text them, and be like, hey, get a hold of Abby. She's not getting responses from you. Come on, people. But I think I'm happy to help you out with that. I actually had somebody contact me a little while ago. They were interested in doing a profile kind of similar to what you're talking about, with like multiple different districts in the state, story map format, as part of the AmeriCorps program. I don't know if you've been familiar with the Big Sky Watershed Corps program that operates here in Montana, but that's one that a lot of conservation districts in Montana, they have those AmeriCorps members, and then a ton of them have basically kind of gotten their foot in the door, and then they transition from being with the district as an AmeriCorps member to working at the district as an official like program manager or their outreach coordinator or something like that. So the list of alumni is really pretty long at this point. So if you and I wanted to catch up on that, if that's a direction that might be of interest to you, we can kind of flesh that out a little bit.
okay, awesome, thank you.
outstanding. All right, Kit, I have you next.
Hi, nice to see everyone again. I think my original plan was doing a career panel that we invite recent grads and professionals within the field to come talk within like different club meetings, or like just have a big eco club social event. But now that we can't do it anymore, I'm thinking that because Teska and I are in the same school and she hasn't graduated yet, it might be cool to like work together as a collaborative effort. And one thing I was thinking that with school closing and everyone not meeting in person, actually might open up a bigger door in terms of what platform I can take with this event. And I was thinking of doing maybe like Instagram story highlight that people can ask questions and you can actually type in the response, and more interactive, and have like a lifetime that you ask a question, you feel more interactive than going to a career panel just listening, and less intimidated because you're not like directly asking question, you're just typing on your phone. So I think it might be an option for me, but I was also thinking, how do I make this project more long lasting, so it's not just within 24 hours people see it and like it goes by right away, but it can stay in a platform that people can come back to visit after a certain time as well.
Great. Now, I'm not as familiar with it as I ought to be, but I think LinkedIn has some of those same functionalities. You can do, an article, and then you could post a video. And I know, because you and I have shared some stuff back and forth on LinkedIn, so I know we're connected there. but NACD also has a LinkedIn page that we could publish this on. And again, if you did it in a video format, we could put that up on our YouTube channel. If you had, you know, if you recorded the whole interaction and then we moved it to, you know, like a short MP4 file or something like that, we'd be able to connect that to our YouTube channel. Now, you know, our YouTube channel doesn't get as many views as like PewDiePie or somebody like that, but it's not bad for a conservation, you know, channel. So there's that option. And another thing I would encourage all of you to do is, if you had a chance, you know, you go to the effort to do all of this as one of your promotional stages or your promotional pieces, go into LinkedIn and write an article about it. Sunny and Ariel and I are all very connected on LinkedIn. We share a lot of stuff back and forth. We of course have the Conservation Careers Workshop LinkedIn group that we'd be able to share this in. But say if you were going to do the article, you know, a week or so before you put the video up or something like that, I guarantee you we could get it circulated through a couple of thousand people within a very few short number of days to get you guys some good views on that kind of thing. So outstanding. I didn't forget anybody, did I? Good. Now, what questions, concerns, recipes for leftovers, you know, important stuff do you guys have that Ariel and Sunny and I can help you with? And I'm watching two screens here, so if I turn my head away, I'm actually looking at you over here just as much as I'm looking at you here. So just, you know, start in if you got questions, if you're wondering about something. We're here to help you out. That's what we do.
Okay, just real quick, as far as making something that's longer lasting with my project specifically, it's kind of pointing out positions that are available in the nearest future or that are available right now. That's not really long lasting once the positions are filled. So do you have any recommendations on how a video could be longer lasting?
Absolutely. And what I think you could do is you could go into it and say, here's an example of some of the positions that are available right now. Because there will be positions like that available everywhere at every time if folks just look for them. You can say, you know, this is how you find these positions. This is what's open right now, just to show you that even during this time, with the craziness that's going on, the work still continues and people are still hiring. I think that's a great message. I don't think there's anything at all wrong with that.
Okay. And I think her name is Michelle Brown in Florida with NRCS. She sent me links today actually that were focused on how to navigate through USA Jobs and find some of these positions. So I guess if I included that information at the end of the video, that could
you bet. I believe if I remember right, she is the state office public information officer. Is that correct?
Yeah, I want to say on the end of her email it said like management analyst or something like that.
Oh, okay. Something else you might throw in there too, Hunter, is the Gateway. Is it Gateway program? NRCS yes, Gateway program. Start to say that doesn't sound right, but that's correct. And what that is a late high school, early college internship program where you can actually work. Matter of fact, Cadence, who's not with us today, I was hoping she would, she actually is a Gateway student with NRCS. You work for NRCS during the summers, and then when you graduate, if you get hired by NRCS, those summer internship hours actually count towards your retirement. I did that as both a high school student, as a senior, and as a college student, and that added to my years of federal service. So that might be something really good to throw in there too. And you know, Hunter, if you wanted to, go ahead, Ariel. Or are you waving flies?
Yeah, Sorry, I just wanted to jump in quickly. 2 points that I was reminded of as Keith was talking. One is, this is for all of you, as you're thinking about your various outreach programs. Keith mentioned internship pathways, but NRCS also has Earth Team, and that's a volunteer-based program, but a lot of volunteer-based programs can lead into careers. And so if there's any way you can sneak in information about that into your programs, I think that would be really helpful. And then a second point that I really wanted to touch on, I don't know if this is true across the United States, but here in the Pacific, we find that a lot of jobs are only open for a couple weeks, and then people don't get the candidates that they're actually hoping for, so they have to reopen the position, or alternatively, they leave it open longer than the priority application deadline or whatever that is. So especially with USA Jobs Hunter, I've heard that multiple times. So I would encourage, as all of you are developing your outreach plans, to make sure to encourage others, other students, et cetera, even yourselves, to sign up for listservs related to jobs so that they can get immediate announcements when those come out, because it's almost impossible to stay up to date on all of the jobs as they're coming open on USA Jobs. And then one other thing too, I know all of you in this group have been really good about it already, but really encouraging other students to be open to moving to new places and exploring new opportunities outside of their homes. That can really benefit people in conservation careers also, because unfortunately, sometimes we may have a dream job in mind in a specific place, and it may not be open in our home counties or our homes. But if you get out and explore the world a little bit more, that'll benefit yourself, your career, in terms of exposing yourself to diversity, but also in terms of being able to advance a little bit further. So including information about that is helpful too. And I see that a lot in NRCS careers too.
Absolutely. As an undergraduate, my summers, I worked for the Cooperative Research Unit, U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service Research Unit at Oklahoma State, and did field work with master's degree and doctoral candidates. I was basically their field technician. But every summer, there would be a list come down, back when they actually wrote and typed things on real paper, and they would hang it on the bulletin board, and you would go through it, and it would say, you know, they want 2 technicians in North Dakota, or they want 4 technicians in Arizona. I would go anywhere and do anything. Now, back in the day, we're talking, you know, 1987, 1988, 1989, I got $5 an hour. But all of my shotguns and all my fishing rods would fit the back seat of my pickup, and I could live out of that pickup for an entire summer, $5 an hour, and still bring home money. I would like to do anything, anywhere. And after 5 years of that experience directly led to my first real career job doing field work. And it was because I showed a willingness to go wherever they needed me to go. And frankly, to me, that's part of the fun and excitement of this career field, is new places and new things. It really is. I've been pretty sedentary in the last, you know, decade or so of my career, but you can do that when you get old and fat like me. But man, she's right. It's all about new things and new places. So that's great. Thanks,
Earth
Ariel.
Teams? Ariel, did you say Earth Teams?
Oh, say that again, Hunter. Yes, the Earth Team volunteers.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think that would, all that stuff, info would be pretty useful for Hope's page as well, just to post it there.
Good deal. What else, anybody? Alex, we can't see you waving your hand, so let us know if you got a question.
I'm all good for now. I think it's just mostly just like, since I haven't had the chance to like get on this too much, like I'm sure I'll encounter roadblocks along the way.
Oh yeah, no worries, no worries. And everybody has my email, because you're probably, every time you open your email, it's like, oh crap, another email from Keith. So remind me of the deadline, and I got to get it done. So you got my email. I'm pretty sure you got Sunny's email because I have copied her on pretty much everything I sent you. Kit, and I know Tesca and Brian, y'all have Ariel's email, Hope and Hunter. You have Candice's email, Abigail has Sunny's email, and Alex, I know you have Candice's email. So I think everybody's pretty well hooked up with everybody and all of us region reps. And I don't know, I mean, I can't speak for my coworkers, but I'll do whatever I need to help you out. That's kind of what I enjoy doing. You know, it would have been nice to have a break. I sat for 6.5 hours today and wrote grant text. So if you'd have sent me an email and interrupted that, I would have greatly appreciated it. So what else? Does anybody have any good stories? They don't even have to be hunting or fishing stories. Just a good story. Maybe about llamas. Ariel's has a llama that's going to save the world from COVID-19. So
I
Well,
might get to start my research in Georgia maybe as early as Monday. So that was
outstanding.
that's
Yeah,
awesome.
Good for
finally
you.
get out of the house.
Good for you. Good
Field
for you.
work will save your sanity.
Yeah.
For,
Yeah.
for you.
Yeah.
They were practicing. They had 2 of the techs go out with the equipment that I'll be using to see if they could do it and socially distance themselves at the same time. And they said it was pretty successful.
Good.
They're working on welding. It involves carrying a pretty heavy winch out into the field, and so the only issue they were having was that they were 6 inches away from each other while they were actually carrying the winch. So they were working on welding long handles on each side of the winch so that it would be 6 feet total that the people are walking out there with.
Yeah. Now, who gets to draw? I mean, how do you decide who puts on the tree spikes and climbs to the top of that pine tree to attach that cable to the top?
Yeah, so we actually have a lift now. So you just get brought right up to the spot without any climbing. Before it was spikes, and then they switched to a deer stand, and now I guess they have a lift. So I kind of got lucky there, but
Yeah. Well, being married to a forester, my wife, both her undergraduate and her graduate degree is in forestry. And I've heard many tales, bad tales about tree spikes and topping trees and springboards, because she was on the forestry team when she was an undergrad and everything. So I've heard all those horror stories. So we didn't do stuff like that as fisheries majors. We did dumb stuff. We didn't do dangerous stuff. So. Anybody else? I don't want anybody to feel like we're rushing off, but I know you guys have stuff to do. And those of you on the East Coast, it's like late. So like I said, don't want to rush anybody, but don't want to take up any more time than we need to. So I'll kind of make this the going once, going twice. Let me know if you have any questions. Otherwise, we will sign off and thank everyone for attending. And we'll probably do another one of these. We'll let you get a couple of months down the road before we bug you on it again.
Yeah, that's
Anybody?
what I say is like, I know you guys have all dealt with a lot of transition over the last couple of months, and I'm sure the challenges are mind blowing. But do you all feel that you're at a point now where kind of life is returned to some level of normal, or it's kind of stabilizing a little bit? If we give a couple months, do you feel as though that would be a window of time where